Okay, good morning. Excuse me. Are there any additional items for the agenda this morning that anyone knows of? It is very quiet, so I'm going to take that as a no. Okay.
This is Lori.
Yes.
This is Lori, and I just have a small point of order. I don't know why Lisa Honner is signed in 3 times. I see one is a phone and 2 others are on the web, so maybe Lisa could clean up at least one of those.
She's working on a different system.
Hi, Lori. Yes, I will go clean up the other one, and I'll be just on the phone, I think, and the one computer. Is that okay?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, we have meeting minutes from August 6th. They were posted and sent out. I can also put them up here on the screen. The minutes reflect there was a question about the Heathers.
And I have had that clarified since through some emails, and it was Heather Estrada.
Okay, so I will
clean that up.
Okay, we'll remove that and the note. Other than that, or is there anything?
I had one question further down under subject indexes, where it talks about the children's subject index. Decided to add it back in and to provide a special search box for this index. Can somebody just clarify for me that special search box? Is that the Sage Juvenile Materials library? Does anybody know?
John, the search box hasn't been added to the search screen yet.
Okay.
So it's in process. But the
All
index, as titles are being added to the system, if they have juvenile subject headings, those are being added to the juvenile subject index.
And when we mean that, we mean second indicator 1, not subfield V.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
It's tied to the second indicator 1.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Sure.
And well, I just have to say, while we're on that topic, I wasn't actually in attendance at the last meeting. I worry that, we had such a long history of dropping the children's index subject headings. We all emphasized to use the 0 second indicator and to not use the ones. It was a duplication. And I'm worried now it's going to be so incomplete that people are going to be searching and not really finding the full, offering of juvenile things.
Well, and later on when we start talking about subject headings again, it will probably come up. And so I don't know if we want to talk later, not necessarily right now, but we want to talk later about maybe other ways to provide that search using other information in the record. But that's a different discussion.
I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, and we do have some location groupings so that patrons and staff can search the catalog and break it down by juvenile based upon shelving locations in the system. So we do have alternatives rather than strictly relying on the juvenile subject. Does that make sense?
That makes good sense, Beth. Thank you. I've been hesitant to even bring in the juvenile subject headings because we had talked previously that they weren't being used.
Yeah, I think what we're doing is just trying to increase the number of avenues that folks have to search the system. And it kept coming up, so I thought, why not add the index? It's not going to hurt anything.
Right.
And we can choose to use it or not as our primary, but at least if we start building this index, it'll help us in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so the minutes, are they ready to be approved? I wasn't there, so I can't do anything about it.
No, I move that we approve the minutes.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Sounds like we have the majority saying aye. So motion has been approved. We'll get those corrections posted on the website. Thank you. Okay.
Excuse me, the John that seconded the minutes, was that John George?
John Brockman.
No, that was me, John Brockman. Sorry.
Oh, all right, John, thank you.
Okay. Trying to bring the right screen back up now. Alrighty. The next item on the agenda is election of a new chair. October is when we typically do this, so I would accept nominations for chair for the cataloging committee for the next year.
I nominate John Brockman.
Okay, thanks, Heather.
This is Lori, and I would like to second that.
Okay, thank you, Lori. Are there any other nominations? And John, are you willing to accept this?
I accept. Heather has agreed to bring brownies on cataloging committee meeting days, so
She's
we're all
bribing
good.
you. Okay. Any other nominations? If not, we'll have an election. All those in favor of John Brockman as the new chair, please say aye.
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 John, you're now the new chair.
Yes, I am.
Do you want to
Congratulations.
continue? Do you want to continue the meeting, or would you like me to?
Oh, I think you're doing a fine job. We're already seeing your screen, so
Okay.
it's all good.
Alrighty. So, create mark templates is the next item on the agenda, and Beth and John George are going to address this.
Hey, hi. What I did was I created some new mark templates under the Create New Mark record. And some of this was stimulated by additional needs We have a new category that Realia that we're needing to create original records for. And then there's also some folks who have had RDA training and want to use RDA coding for original records. So if you've gone in there to create temporary records, you may have seen a new list of templates. And it orders it alphabetically, and capitals make a difference. And so you'll see a different ordering in the templates as well. Any questions about that? Very quiet. So I will take it that the templates are okay. If you see any problems with any of the templates or have additional questions, please reach out.
Thanks, Beth. And thanks for getting those up. The next item on the agenda is upgrades to Evergreen. And Beth and John, we're going to turn that one back to you again.
Okay. Let's see. I did the operating system upgrades to all of the servers. I need to do the Postgres update next, and Evergreen itself is scheduled to be upgraded next month. Let's see. I have most of the Sage test server up. I'm still trying to troubleshoot some of the weird issues with it, but I made a lot of progress. So is there anything you'd like to add, Beth?
Just that we were hoping to use the Sage test server for our training on the new web client version. Right. That we're going to be upgrading to on November 14th. If for some reason that doesn't work out, there's demo servers out there that we can use for our training. And I will soon be sending out a link for some videos that other Evergreen installations have put together, just to kind of introduce you to maybe the new look. There's a lot of similarities between the web client version and the staff client, and with the version we're moving to, we still have the ability to use the staff client along with the web client. So I don't want folks to be intimidated by this big update. So anyway, we're going to be posting some links to some online trainings, as well as doing our own GoToMeeting sessions where we can introduce and show you what it's going to look like.
Does anybody have any questions regarding that?
This is Lori, and at one time you guys had planned to do the actual transition on a Sunday in order not to impact so many libraries. And then you changed to a Wednesday, and why is that?
The reason it's on a Wednesday is because Equinox is doing the upgrade instead of us. And because, we're dealing with the vendors' schedule, because they want to be able to address any problems during the regular business week, so we don't get charged extra for weekend hours. Once John and I are up to speed with doing the upgrades ourselves, we'll have more flexibility with doing the upgrades in a non-impact way.
That's what I suspected. How much trouble do you anticipate with as we go live with this? I've been following the Evergreen cataloging list, and you're finding some issues with this version, even with cataloging still. Do you know how many wrinkles we might be facing?
I know that they have been working hard on addressing all of the bugs. My feeling is once we upgrade on the 14th, we're going to not have, my thought is we're not going to be seeing a lot of bugs that other folks have faced. And that was one of the reasons why we held off, because we wanted it to be more developed before we jumped into it.
Well, and a fair number of the bugs I'm seeing are for 3.2, which is not what we're going to. So at least the listserv I'm seeing. Yeah. So, because we're going to 3.1.
No, the ones that I noticed on the cataloging list were 3.1.
Okay.
But it may not be major things. It seemed to be much more in-depth cataloging and like authorities issues, which I'm sure they'll get worked out.
Okay.
But Lori, that's a good point, and John and I will look into that and see, especially closer to the upgrade, as to what are the current bugs that we might anticipate.
I'm glad you guys are preparing so thoroughly. We all dread the upgrades, you know, so this is good.
Understood.
We should have scheduled it for Halloween.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, any other questions regarding the upgrade to Evergreen? Okay, the next item on the agenda is Book with CD read-along training. And Anna's not here to speak to that, so I can do that. The Book with CD or read-alongs are, in some respects, the things that we used to reference as kits. And we have been really looking at that as mentors and trying to make this as easy for patrons to find and utilize as possible, because they're going to be housed oftentimes right with the books, because the CDs are generally in the books and not set, having to put in a bag and hang somewhere. So we are putting together and are getting really close to it. Anna's had a lot of this that she's worked with this on. But we're getting this really close to being ready to go, and there is a target date for training. I'm going to make sure I have the right date for you. The first Thursday in November, and that is, at this point, is a target. It would be at the 1 o'clock training time that we've done. So if you want to put that on your calendars as what we think is coming up for that, that's the plan at this point. And so unless something drastic happens, that's where we're at. Any questions on that? We have a very quiet group this morning. Okay, hearing nothing. Series documentation.
Could we just go back a second? Since we aren't hearing, if we aren't hearing from the catalogers at large, I'm just kind of curious. Does everyone understand what the issue was, and the fact that for a convenience on Sage we were cataloging just a book with an audio as kits? We all knew it was wrong when we came up with that policy, but For several reasons, it was the best way to identify it for patrons at that time. So are there any catalogers that are wondering really what this is about, or do you all kind of get it? And have you looked at any of your materials that you have in your library that were cataloged as kits, even though it was just an audio accompanying a book?
Hey, Lori, this is Lisa. And yes, absolutely, I've noticed the differences. I'm trying to slowly but surely, as we get more information, bring the books with CDs as a differentiation from the kit. And I absolutely think this is wonderful. I like the book with CD notation. I think it's going to be a lot easier for our patrons to find exactly what they need.
Dia, do we know of an example that we could bring up for folks to see? A book with CD done under the new method?
Let me.
If we don't, it's fine.
Let me
I just
pull
was
up the
thinking it might
catalog.
be helpful.
I think I can come up with one.
Just a lucky guess would be Skippy John Jones.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's one that I recently was one of the ones that we were using as an example when we were talking in the mentor meetings, and then I went in and fixed it. So let me see.
Just the visual presentation, there's a lot of things that really stand out and make it readily identifiable as this unit book with CD that is really helpful, I think.
Okay, I'm going to share this screen because I did find it. And hopefully this is a decent one to use. And I just chose the wrong evergreen. There we go. Okay, so this title is Carnival of Animals. And as you look down through this, I'm just going to slowly scroll through this. You see a number of books. You see a sound recording. It looks like it's music. You have book with CD. This is the one that we're talking about. So let me move it over here to the MARC record so that it's a little easier to see some of those things. So, of course, because it has, excuse me, an audio component to it, we have the 007 that's reflected, as well as it being reflected in the fixed fields in the 008. And then we've added a new GMD, book with CD, and also a new 999 that's also book with CD. No, that's not correct. I thought we did. This is something I missed in that one, apparently. Didn't we do that?
I thought it was added as a 690. I didn't know if we created a new 99 for it.
That's something we'll have to check the instructions, apparently, because whichever way it is, it's not in here the way I did it. So this one is one that I didn't quite finish properly. This was one we had in there as a test and we were using. It hadn't been completely updated. So, but one of the things that through all of this, when you get the instructions, which will be out shortly along with the training, it will create that additional icon, and it will also be searchable as book with CD. So is that answer any questions, or does it create more questions? Do I need to look for a different one that's done properly?
I think there's a couple things of interest in this bib that you demonstrated, and I honestly don't remember. I thought we were using the two separate 999s, the book and the audiobook CD. I don't recall that we created a separate one, but I might be wrong. But the other thing is could you please explain what generates the icons so the catalogers get why that's so helpful to patrons?
Got the documentation in front of me. I can't recall. Beth, can you?
Yes. Basically, what it does is it looks at the mark type, and it also looks at the 33X fields.
Right.
So because we have two different 33X fields, we have both spoken word and we have text. It looks at those and, basically will display a graphic for the different types that are represented in the record. So that's why we have both the book with CD and the book icon. And just another way for the patron to see, oh, this is both a book and a CD. I'm getting both of these in this item. I think will be really helpful. Helpful to the patrons and also helpful to staff who are trying to choose the right record to attach their item to, because there's been some confusion with, some libraries will just have the book and others will have the book and CD set.
And let me ease everyone's fear that I don't know what the 33X fields are supposed to look like. That information is also going to be in the instruction sheets. So, and they'll be clearly delineated.
And if folks have any issue, especially after the training happens at the beginning of November, please email one of the mentors, and we can help you go through this process and help you get the record the way it should be.
Definitely.
Thank you both.
Matt. Okay. So the next topic is series documentation, if no one else has any other questions. We are hoping to have some documentation on some specifics about series and how to work with them and what to make sure you are following. We're hoping sometime within the next month, whether that's towards the end of this month or beginning of next month. We're getting really close to having that done. And so we're hoping to have that also out to you all. And if you all have any questions with any of that as well, please don't hesitate to contact the mentors. They are listed on the website. They're also listed on the contact information that was sent out for this meeting. Does anybody have any questions regarding that or concerns that maybe we need to address if we haven't already with that?
This is Lori, and I'll just add to what you've said. John, George, Anna Lim, and I created several versions of a series document, and we would change it, and then we'd edit, and then change and edit. And finally, I just kind of threw out the last one and said, if anybody wants to change it at this point, I'm kind of done with it, so let me know. And I think Anna Lim is hoping to create a nicer format for the documentation. But other than that, it's pretty close. And then Heather and John Brockman up at Baker also wanted to add more material, more information on cataloging, graphic, and manga. And that's all that waits, I think. So hope it's out, certainly by the next cataloging committee meeting. I hope it's out.
That's our hope as well. The whole intergroup. So.
And we will eventually, hopefully, have some training on all this, since it's quite a bit of material. I'm sure all of us here could not just on the things that are different, but use a refresher on what is current cataloging series policy.
Yeah, training, and then I think I heard Heather was going to make sure everyone had brownies for that training as well.
So there might be a little sale going
brownies.
out on the career.
It'll be like a fun surprise.
Yeah.
Don't forget to mail mine. Anyway, so is there anything else that anyone wanted to bring up this morning?
Oh, this is related to series, Beth speaking. If you notice when you're looking at the series authority record at Library of Congress, that our system is out of date, you can go ahead and send me an email and I can get our authorities updated. We typically update our authority records once a quarter, is what's been happening lately. But if some change occurs in between time, I don't mind downloading a new authority record and updating the records accordingly. Heather found an example where an 830 had been changed to an 800 in the series, and so I downloaded a new authority record and made the changes. And so I just wanted to open that up to everybody, because you're going to see things that I'm not going to see, and I want to get the system updated if I can.
This is Lori, and I've seen it the other way on occasion. Often when a series starts somehow by publishers, even if it's a single author series, they often start with an 830 link. I'd never seen it the other way. You said that LTI will no longer be our authority contract. And have you found another service?
I'm still researching. They are basically going out of business in the new year, but in the meantime, we still have them as our authority vendor, and so we can take advantage of that. And there are other ones out there, just trying to find the one that's the best fit for us, and not only budget-wise, but feature-wise.
Yeah, I would like to actually add the features of our authority contract as you're looking. I'd like to add that to an upcoming mentors meeting. I keep meaning to bring that up because there were certain parts of LTI that I really haven't liked. And I'm just wondering how flexible our next authority contract could be.
Okay.
Yeah. Do other catalogers out there, is anyone having particular problems, or have you seen like types of records that are vexing you, or are you having any problems cataloging overall? Is everyone pleased with the Z3950 delivery? What's going on for you guys? Is anyone noticing a lot of duplicates? It seems like it's down a little bit.
I'm still seeing a fair number.
Yeah. New records primarily?
I'm seeing a mix, but yes, a fair number of new records as well.
We still occasionally
more than I'd like to see, but
we still run into search problems, from time to time. And I really suspect that's an awful lot. That's not all of it. Some of the catalogers that I watch, through my region, there are some who consistently import duplicate records. And all I can think is that they forget to search all of Sage. But otherwise, I think we're having some problems with mis-searching at the front desk and when I'm cataloging from time to time.
Yeah, our hope is that these search issues go away with the upgrade. And if they don't, that was basically the next step that Equinox wanted us to take, was to upgrade our software and see if the search issues go away. So we're just trying to create the right foundation to move forward.
Is there any chance that our server is not adequate?
We've looked at that, and I asked that question, do we need more capacity? And basically they looked at it and thought that the servers were fine as far as hardware goes. So that's why it's a puzzle. But when we're doing the upgrade, a lot of the database tables will be rebuilt. So there's enough of an overhaul happening with the upgrade that we should be looking at a fresh, I guess what I'm saying, yeah, go ahead, John.
Oh, I was just going to say there's enough things that we're changing that could have been issues that we'll be able to eliminate them. So, yeah. So we'll know more once we do the upgrade. If we're still having issues, we'll revisit and continue to troubleshoot. But for example, after doing the operating system upgrade, a couple of the small errors we were getting on the one server disappeared. So we're still getting the search errors though. So it's not clear what the problem is since it's a sporadic issue. But there are a few things that the Evergreen upgrade will eliminate, and like I said, we'll just go from there. Does that help any?
Well, and if you're seeing some consistent issues with searching, if you contact John, he will restart services too.
Yes.
He's been very good about that.
Well, thank you.
Anything else?
This group is so quiet. It's almost like we've already gone through our time change or something. They're just being polite.
Or it's Monday.
Could be that too. Well, if there's nothing else, the next scheduled cataloging committee meeting will be December 3rd at 11 a.m. Again, via GoToMeeting, and hopefully we will have the correct information out the first time this time. And John Brockman will be leading the front on it.
Congratulations, John.
Yep, congratulations.
Well, I hope I can get everybody out in 40 minutes. Wouldn't that be great? Anyway, thank you so much for doing this last year, Dia. I know it's a lot of work. I don't quite know how much work it's going to be, but I will know.
I think it's been 2 or 3 years now for Dia. And yeah. Thank you, John, for accepting it.
Thanks, Dia, for doing it for all these years, too.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. Hear, hear.
Hear, hear.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I'd be willing to adjourn the meeting if anyone else would like that.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Goodbye.
That was a really good meeting. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a
Take
good day,
care.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.